Stand with me.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the start recording key does make my character say something, which is rather hilarious. My name is Juggernaut, and the game in the background is Diablo 3, and today I want to talk to you about Infinity War. Now, at this point, pretty much anyone who is someone has talked about the movie. It's received tremendous ratings online. It's 9 point something out of 10 at this point, I think, on IMDb, depending on when you're watching. It could go below 9, but I don't think it will. So yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It made a ridiculous amount of cash, which is, I mean, is what it's all about, really, and kind of the most valid, well, not the most valid, but the most important testament to its success nowadays, especially. And yeah, it's terrific movie, terrific movie. Needless to say, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. I'm going to talk about one thing that happens at the very end of the movie. Those of you who have seen it know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have not and do not want it spoiled, I recommend that you leave now. This is your final warning. If you don't want the game spoiled, leave and return in another video, I suppose, because, yeah. It's pretty damn important. It's arguably the most essential thing that happens in the entire movie, and yeah, you don't want it spoiled. Go.
The sword piece is here.
You gone?
Who are you to take what is
Right, they should be gone. It's just you and me now. So, Thanos bloody wins. I can't believe it. Thanos bloody wins at the end of the movie.
Very well.
This is just amazing to me, and this is, I don't think this is something that any superhero movie had the balls to do, really?
Well fought. But
Not to this extent. I mean, this was basically, to use some 40k terminology, this was basically the end times for Marvel, right? The end times just happened, and they're bloody awesome. Unlike, you know, Warhammer End Times, which are utter garbage, and I will never stop ranting about that. But at any rate, Thanos bloody wins, and this has sort of been the case in terms of stepping away from the conventions. Historically, really, if there is a conventional form of doing something in art, and yes, movies are considered an art form, despite what some weird bearded people, well, it's not really bearded people, it's despite what some old moustachy people tend to say, they are an art form, and if there is a convention to do one thing, usually after a certain amount of time, a group of people will come up with a sort of alternative to it and will veer away from it as if it were the devil itself. And this is not really the case here, but it's the best we're gonna get, right? Because in a situation like this, where Thanos again bloody won, I did not expect that. I genuinely did not. Usually what happens is they'll pull off, I don't know, maybe one character will die and have a tragic end, maybe even the protagonist will have a tragic end, but things will get settled in a relatively okay manner. Especially in superhero movies where the superhero cannot die, right? Nope. Nope, that's like, officially it's supposed to be half, but that's like 70% of your characters gone. You're like, well, should I spoil who dies? I mean, I won't. For those of you that don't, I don't know. There's all sorts of people. Some don't mind having this spoiled, but would mind to know who died. So I won't. But you like this particular character? Too bad. He's dead. Now, you and I both know these characters are all coming back, right? They haven't really died. All the characters tend to die every Tuesday. It's not exactly new that, you know, that they die and then come back. Everyone's done it at least a few times. It's okay, but the fact that they have the balls to pull something like this off is amazing to me. And for that alone, I give the movie a very high score. I don't want to numerize it because it's not my job, it's not something I do, but it's been receiving a lot of 10 out of 10s for especially from, like, not on IMDb, but from a lot of relatively famous movie critics out there that I follow. And would I agree? I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 for me because it's not a perfect movie, right? No movie's perfect, but there were a few things that got in the way. It's bloody awesome, though. I mean, all that aside, it is bloody awesome. Now, it's not only about that, however. There is more to it than just this. I want to talk about the ratings system as a whole a little bit. So let's say I give it a 9 out of 10. What else did the movie do really good that sort of doesn't really just work well for it, but it's sort of like a lesson to the movies in the future? They were not afraid to tackle the topic of, first of all, the Infinity Stones and the way they work, because how do you portray a battle that happens across not just, you know, the physical realm, but happens across time, space, souls, and just all sorts of different aspects, and they relatively do it justice. I mean, it's a movie. How do you portray that? I mean, on paper, you're sort of like, you know, every scene should include all of that, right? But how do you really do that? It's insanely difficult, and oddly enough, they do it relatively well, and they give it they do it justice. So it's a great movie. Go out and see it first of all. Again, not perfect, so a 9 out of 10 for me, but 10 out of 10 is something for some really, like, special stuff. 10 out of 10 is one movie every 10 years, probably. And then again, you would have to consider, well, what was better than this in recent memory, especially out of, like, the superhero genre and stuff like that. And yeah, there's arguments, right? But I want to talk to you about a different kind of grading problem that I had with the movie. So it's one of the most expensive. I don't know about this person. I haven't worked on it, right? So it's perhaps a little bit
those trees. Be on your guard.
Wrong of me to say this, but I can say it with like 99% confidence that this is if not one of the most expensive movies to make. Judging by the sheer amount of characters, the amount of actors in it, the amount of, not just the amount of soldiers and background actors and stuff like that, the amount of famous actors you need to pay to actually be in the movie, to the amount of action which starts off like in the first 20 seconds of the movie and persists throughout the entire thing, with like breaks in the middle of setting up more action. It was really an infinity war. Right, it wasn't an infinity battle, it was a war. It was fought in different places, with different people, there was different aspects to it. It was really a war. It was phenomenal. I will say my movie experience has been a little bit ruined by jerks in the theater, and I hope you never have to watch movies with these kinds of people in your lives, but whenever a sort of, well, not whenever, but say a particular character died, and it was one of the most emotional sort of moments in the movie, and you have no idea who I'm talking about because there's several, correct. But, you know, certain character who may or may not rhyme with Schmeiderschman, has a moment, has an emotional moment with someone else. Yeah, not to spoil the least amount of stuff possible. And I read comments and I've talked to people about this, and to most of them, this was the most emotional part of the movie, and it genuinely got them, you know, teary, and some people genuinely cried, some people found it just emotionally, you know, the saddest part of the movie. This moment that Schmeiderschman had with a certain character, and it may or may not involve the death of someone, right? At that exact moment that this sort of break from the action and this emotional moment is happening, there's like 6 kids in the back row that go, "Who cares, man?" So I admire my self-control and my will to not resort to violence, but you know, not saying they were asking for it, but they were bloody asking for it. And this is not a lone incident. This happened throughout the movie. That they were ruining the movie for. There wasn't really a lot of people in the theater. I live in a pretty small town, so there's never really a lot of people in the theater, regardless of what's showing. Which is one of the great perks of being here. Tickets are cheap. Theater's pretty damn awesome, and there's never like it's never packed. You always have like 3 to 4 seats around you to put your whatever you want on it, so it's great, but occasionally there's idiots. At any rate, so I can't wait to see it again at home on like Blu-ray or in 1080p and whatever format that I'll be able to see it at. But yeah, it's definitely there's so much stuff that happens in the movie, not in terms of raw action, but in terms of events as well for the universe as a whole, that it really warrants you watching it 2 or even 3 times to you know, just fully appreciate the thing. And I remember I went to see it with my friend, and I remember leaving the theater and going, I need to lie down. Like, I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know, because usually go, yeah, oh, that was really cool, that was bad, I didn't like that, I like that. But for most movies, you have that sort of critical analysis in your head, at least a mini analysis of the movie when you're leaving. But this was like, my mind was blank. I was like, I don't know. I need to lie down, I'll talk to you in a few days. Because there's so much happening to wrap your head around. Ending in the movie, the villain winning is just one part of the entire thing. So yeah, it's really a great movie, but it sets up a precedent, I hope. It sets up a precedent that other movies can do it and make an insane amount of profit, right? And it also sets up a precedent for other movies of how to do these types of like culminations and stuff like that. Because they weren't afraid to put in a whole load of characters, and none of them felt tacked in. Right? None of them felt like they didn't have enough screen time, at least in my opinion. They all felt like they belong. Now, obviously, the prerequisite for this is that you do sort of have to watch all the other Marvel movies in order to get... okay, not every single one, but if you've never seen any of the Marvel movies and you're jumping into this, what the hell are you doing, right? Go and watch the other ones first. It sort of does rely on you knowing the characters at least a little bit. In order for the entire thing to work, but it does work, and it's a terrific experience. Again, one of the most expensive movies, just the raw visual action part of it is enough to just make you go, ah, right, that was awesome. Even if I didn't understand anything that was going on, the visuals alone, right, is just phenomenal. Explain to me then, and this is not sarcastic, this is genuine. Explain to me then, how do people give this movie a 1 out of 10? And this is something that, I don't know, maybe I'm causing too big of a fuss over this, and I believe there's people like this for every part of the internet and for every movie, but I understand going on YouTube and disliking videos because, I don't know, it gives you a sense of power and control that you may not have in your actual life, or I don't know, you may be going through something horrible, you may have been molested as a child, and now this gives you a sense of control or something. Oh, well, that's getting very dark. Yes, as it should. But you're looking at just a masterful piece of art, right? If not for the pure visual aesthetics of it, and you're gonna give this movie a 1 out of 10. Not a 2 out of 10, a 1 out of 10. I had someone saying that, these are written reviews, this is not just someone clicking 1 out of 10 and just going, yeah, whatever. Because that I sort of understand as well, because at that point there's people probably haven't seen the movie at all, right? I imagine those kids at the back probably gave this movie like a 1 out of 10, maybe? I don't know. But even they, at some point went, whoa, right? So they liked it. I don't know how much of it they understood, I don't know how much of it they were watching, but there were points that they liked. So even they, who weren't paying attention to the movie, probably didn't have any clue what was going on, and came there to ruin the experience for the rest of us, enjoyed it. To an extent. In some respect, did. And went wow, and probably wouldn't give it a 1 out of 10. Explain to me then the 1 out of 10 ratings. It's something I genuinely do not understand and would like to wrap my head around. YouTube videos I understand, I genuinely do. Everything else online I genuinely do understand, but what on earth is this? What is this? Because I don't know, man. Alright, at any rate,
You there, please help. They're going to kill my
there was
friend.
something else. Yeah,
She's just a farm.
so loads of characters, but done right. Give me a second.
Stand with me.
Yeah, it also sets up the future of the series rather well too, because as I mentioned, these characters aren't actually dead. You know, they will come back at one point or another, but they can come back as different actors now, because you know that was the old Captain America. This is the new one. That was the old you know, Hulk. This is the new one, and that doesn't have anything to do with characters that have died or haven't. Matter of fact, I'm picking them out specifically so it doesn't have a connection to who died and who didn't at the end of the movie. But it's really it sets up the series for the future great, and it just works. Right? It just works. The villain wins, and yet you are left with a. Well, you're not left with a bittersweet taste in your mouth, right? You're left with a sort of. Wow, that was like a war from start to finish. That was a story. That was an amazing story, and I liked it, and I want to see more of it now, which is kind of very important as well. That you leave people sort of yearning for more at the end of it, right?
And I sure as hell don't want to stay around here.
Truly, lovely. But
This criminal's proposal.
yeah, is it the best Marvel movie ever?
But
It's true.
No.
Look like the marrying kind.
No, and I'm going to have a very unpopular opinion. Well, I don't know how unpopular it's going to be, but I am of the opinion that Deadpool was a better movie. Don't look at me like that. I know Deadpool's not in the Avengers. He's with the XCOM part of the universe, and yes, I know that it's Marvel only by, like, only legally speaking. There's completely different people working on this, that it realistically shouldn't be compared to, but they're both superhero movies. They're both sort of riding on the same thing, comedy and action. Hell of a lot more comedy in Deadpool, obviously. I just adored that movie to no end. Right? I gave that movie a 10 out of 10. I would call that one the best one, but out of the rest, yeah, it is the best one that they've made, and it's something that's like a culmination for the last, I don't know, 10 years, probably even more, of Marvel done right. In spite of all the hype that is impossible to live up to, keep it somewhat realistic, they live up to it, right? Keep your expectations at least a little bit realistic, they live up to them, and it's rare. It's very rare, and it sets like a precedent. It goes, other movie makers, look at this, apart from a few mistakes here and there, this is how you do it. Especially does that for DC, which just no. DC, no. After a movie like this, I saw someone on Instagram say that after a movie like this, they will be begging for a Marvel DC crossover. which is probably never gonna happen, but
Evil creatures through strange
yeah, it's
I
just
was talking about happy memories.
I was left a little bit bewildered, and I still am at the end of it in a positive sense, because there's just so much that happened, and it's just good. It's good. And you look at those 1 out of 10 ratings, and someone said it's like the only movie, he watches a lot of movies apparently, and it's the only movie that he had to leave, and he couldn't watch through the entire thing. I'm like, how? Why? No! No! Because no, right? I mean, I'd sort of assume there's people that haven't seen Marvel movies before. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm like, alright, this is a grandpa and a grandma or slash grandpa in his 90s and has no idea what a superhero movie is. And just came here and I was expecting a World War I documentary and got this, and he's like, what the hell am I watching? And alright, fair enough. I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be allowed to write reviews because, but okay. But now there's actual people that are like, oh, I've enjoyed other Marvel movies, but this one sucks.
hatred to do that.
Are you just trying to be different? Are you genuinely? Because I can understand not liking the movie. Hell, you could not like literally anything in this world. Apart from pizza, everyone likes pizza. That's dumb jokes aside. You can dislike everything in this bloody world, but you can't give it a 1 out of 10. Come on. I mean, the amount of gorgeous scenes in that movie are enough for a few screensavers at the very least, and that warrants a bloody 2 out of 10. The 1 out of 10 is like the worst movie you will ever see. Really? Really? I don't think so. Reevaluate. It doesn't matter. I mean, ultimately, the average score matters the most. And no, not even that. Ultimately, the amount of money the movie makes matters the most. Of course, but I don't know. It's just I haven't seen anyone talk about this. And I was really just it didn't piss me off. You know, why would it piss me off? And nothing to do with it. You can write whatever the hell you want. It's the internet. But I just found it weird, and I couldn't understand it. So wanted to just, I guess, bring attention to that a little bit. At any rate, where was I going with this? That's pretty much it. It's a fantastic movie. Go out and see it. The action's done incredibly well. The story is very, very good. The villain wins at the end, and it's just amazing. Just for that reason alone, I want to see them. I'd recommend seeing the movie because, hell, when else did that happen in recent memory? Just a pure villain of a superhero movie one. It doesn't happen, right? Yes, there are like exotic examples here and there, but it's just for a big title like this, it was absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome to see. Loved it, and that's a very disgusting achievement name. Thank you, Blizzard. There you go. That's all I wanted for today. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video and want to stay tuned with the rest of the content that I produce on the channel. Mostly stuff about video games, not movies, but
Perhaps I should just visit.
you know, this was the culmination of years of work and years of superhero movies, and I've seen all of them, so it just only felt fair to go, well done. Above everything else, well done. You did good. You did good. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching again. Have fun. Take care. Bye-bye. And, yeah, I've bought Diablo 2, or Diablo 3 recently, sorry. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Tell me if you want to see videos of this. It's not the most intuitive viewing experience ever, but I think for videos like this, where I need some background footage, it lends itself rather well. So yeah, we'll see about that in the future. Tell me what you think. Until next time, I already said it, so you know what? Just bye. And go and see the movie. Fantastic.